Hello, I'm Alice, an analyst here at the AHDB. This year has been a good year for exports of fresh potatoes on the back of a shortage of potatoes in some European countries in 2018. Taking a look at HMRC export data, fresh potato exports this year were well ahead of previous seasons, and the UK has remained a net exporter of fresh potatoes for the second season running. From July to May 2018-19, exports to the EU were up almost 25,000 tonnes compared to the July to May 5-year average. This increase was primarily driven by exports into Belgium, up 12,500 tonnes against the 5-year average. There were also increased export volumes into Poland, the Netherlands and the Czech Republic from the UK. From July until January, UK exports into the EU were actually down compared to the 5-year average for all but 1 month. From February, the export markets really became available and UK exports ramped up. But it wasn't until April that the season's export totals began to exceed the 5-year average, and May saw an increase of over 16,000 tonnes compared to the 5-year average. Belgian markets for UK potato exports have generally been growing over the past few years, although this year saw a spike. Belgium's supply is outstripped by demand from processors and therefore rely on import material. As free-buy processing supplies reduced on the continent, processors started to look to the UK to fulfil their requirements, increasing UK trade. We also saw an increased demand for packing material onto the continent from the UK. France, who are normally the main supplier of fresh packing supplies to Europe, struggled to keep up with the increased demand and prices rose. As UK suppliers were attractively priced, it allowed UK potatoes to make their way onto European tables. UK export into Poland also ramped up from February, and although Poland has always been an export market for UK potatoes, it has generally been relatively small. This year has seen a huge amount of UK potato trade, with Poland potentially opening doors for the coming season. Recent weather conditions have been very hot and dry for most of Europe, adding pressure to potato crops. Much of Europe has experienced insufficient soil moisture throughout July, raising serious concerns about the conditions of crops and the impact on the potential yields. With limited carryover from last season and the need to switch to new crop earlier than normal, it is likely that many processors will rely on imports again and could offer support to the UK trade for a third year running. To stay up to date with market news and price information, read our Potato Weekly sent out each Friday. If you do not receive this already, use the email address below to subscribe.